President Jacob Zuma has assured leaders that the World Economic Conference will be a great success. Zuma says leaders must turn their focus on Africa's growth and infrastructure development. He says inclusive growth in the context of Africa is important.
Very important, because Africa is one region that has been growing economically. Of course, the issues relating to Africa in particular will be the issues of Africa's development. Today, we are not talking about Africa theoretically. There are very clear projects with regard to the infrastructure that is aimed at linking Africa. We have agreed that Africa should engage very vigorously on intra-trade within itself, as well as with other regions, economic regions of the world. But of course, at the specific issues is the issue of economic growth and creation of jobs. That is the issue which faces us, which then I believe this WEF will be able to discuss that issue intensively, because we need to see what is it that we can do to encourage this inclusive growth.
President Jacob Zuma is leading a delegation of 17 ministers and deputy ministers to the World Economic Forum's Africa meeting. The three-day event begins today at the Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center. The high-profile gathering is attended by world leaders, economists and analysts. Tight security measures too are in place to avert any possible danger to the event. Meanwhile, as the three-day summit kicks off, Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba has his work cut out for him. Some of the challenges include learning from turnaround examples of other developing nations, convincing foreign governments to see South Africa as an investment destination, and to persuade captains of industry accompanying the different governments about South Africa's investment credentials. Well, Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba pledges to end abject poverty and economic isolation of the black majority whilst maintaining growth. The Finance Minister steered clear of the word radical, despite stressing on the need to transform the economy. He called upon the business to bring economic opportunities closer to the poor. He was speaking on the eve of the much-anticipated World Economic Forum in Durban. Let's take a listen.
We need to develop productive economic activity in these areas. And therefore, the urban development programs, such as these ones, as the Bridge City, are critical in ensuring that there is infrastructure provided, there is social infrastructure, logistics infrastructure. We create logistics corridors that connect the townships and the city centers. We bring government services closer to the people, which ensures that their incomes can circulate in the areas in which they reside. People lived in 40 square meter houses, 40 kilometers away and more from the city centers, which are the hub of economic activity at the present moment, and where they spend at least 40% of their incomes on transportation. Even as we speak, this remains the reality for many of South African households, which means that for black people, in order for their incomes to contribute towards the social and economic upliftment of their households, they need to reduce their spend, particularly on transport. We need to bring economic opportunities closer to where they reside, so that they can also spend less time on the roads, more time with their families, and spend less resources contributing towards environmental degradation, which happens when you look at the morning and the evening rush hours. So special development is very important to inclusive growth, because it addresses the issues of which have caused that exclusion of the majority of our people from economic participation.